Little brown sugar there for you this morning on Legacy 1160 WSKW. What are we doing this morning? It's Friday. It's Friday. There we go. Just setting everything up here. I'm making everything look good. I'm making myself look purty. I heard I was talking. I was there's a little story. Wait, another song here. We'll do another song because I gotta do some stuff. You can hang out with me for a song, right? Nothing wrong with a song. I mean, it's Friday. You need a little song in your heart to get things going here. Legacy 1160 WSKW Freedom's Pep Rally. We're live at Legacy 1160 AM 1160. It is the outlet for great freedom radio. The AM band is, and we are a proud part of it, Maine's most powerful AM radio station. Although we do have some work to do on the transmitter still. But we are on legacy1160.com, streaming on audio. Just click on Listen Live 24/7. You get the music and everything. Then we do the 6 to noon. We do the live broadcast on video with Mike Violet from 6 to 9, me from 9 to noon. And, of course, we're on a bunch of different Facebook pages, including but not limited to Legacy 1160. My personal page, John with a no H, Jon James, American Women Who Bear Arms, and Right America Media. And I am going to start a stream this morning on USA.life. Now, they are not doing live streaming right now, but I can paste, I believe I can paste the video in from the YouTube. So this is all good. I mean, we're getting more platforms all the time, which is good. And we ask you to share if you would be so kind, because that certainly will get the word out, basically, and it'll help us assure that we are going to be able to continue to stream. Now, I'm just trying this Facebook post for the first time on USA.life. If you haven't checked out USA.life, do. It's another social media site. And also, I'm going to try to stream it on Parler as well. And we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure if you can paste live streaming video. I'm trying it for the first time this morning. Time will tell. So I'm doing that. I'm doing that right now, as a matter of fact, as we speak. It's a miracle that I can multitask like that. Speaking of it's a miracle, guilty pleasure. I mean, what can I say? I like Barry Manilow. Brings me back to the day when I was just a little boy. Legacy 1160, WSKW. 621-9759, 207-621-9759, text line 441-6969.
Would you believe where I've been? The cities and towns I've been in, from Boston to Denver, and every town in between.
Everyone looks the same.
People, they all look the same.
Yes, I'll say.
Oh, only the names have been
Just
changed.
our names.
But now that I'm home again, I'll tell you what I believe. It's a miracle, a true blue spectacle, a miracle come true. When you get up, baby, I was going crazy till the miracle came through. Now you're here and my arms are around you, and baby, love it dancing in the street. For the miracle, a true blue spectacle, the miracle is you. I never knew you looked so good. Oh, I never knew anyone could. I must have been crazy to ever have gone away. through. Now you're here and I'm feeling so good. And baby, they'll be dancing in the streets for the miracle, a true blue spectacle. The miracle is you. Now you're here and my arms all around you, and baby, they'll be dancing in the street. It's gonna be dancing in the street. Whoa, 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 dancing in the street. Dance, 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 street. Come on, everybody. Dance,
I'm paying no attention. I'm into the music. The music is in my soul. Come on now. Okay, bring it home. That's what they say in the big time. Man. Bring it home, baby. That's what I'm talking about. I like it.
Welcome to your Freedom Pep Rally with America's friendliest host, John James.
Woo. Yeah, well. Look, I'm not even out of breath. All right. Man, I was all trumped up this morning. Look, I've got my Trump flag. I've got my Trump hat. I've got my Trump mask. And I've got my Trump shirt. I had to wear a t-shirt today because I'm going to the chiropractor. Oh, I was gonna tell you a story about David Trahan. He and Mike Shaw and Becky Morrell, and actually today on the show we have Judy Camuso coming up on Conserving the Maine Outdoors. Judy Camuso is the commissioner of the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Department. She's awesome. She's a great outdoors woman and a hunter and a shooter, and she's terrific. Anyway, she'll be on at noontime today with the gang. And Becky Morrell, you're going to love this. Becky Morrell, who works for the Sportsman's Alliance of Maine, she is the right hand of David Trahan. He needs a right hand, and Becky is it. You talk about crossing the I's, crossing the T's. You don't want to cross your I's because then they become T's. Crossing the T's and dotting the I's. And she is awesome at that. And she's going to be talking about her deer hunting experience this year. It's really cool. She and David were out hunting and on his land, and David got a deer. And they weren't together. I mean, they were in different areas. He was in his stand, and she was in hers, I guess. I will find out. And within, like, minutes, you have to listen. It's a great story. So anyway, Dave is talking. He was talking about something he was wearing, shirt or something he was wearing yesterday when he was in. And I wasn't paying a lot of attention. He said something to Mike Shaw, the other co-host. Do you like, notice I wore this special top. And I thought that didn't sound right. And I thought, well, I said, you sounded like such a girl just then. And well, luckily, Dave's got a great sense of humor, and Mike laughed. And I said, why didn't you just say, check out the blouse I'm wearing? So I'm going to start I'm going to see if people do a double take when I refer to the shirt I'm wearing as a blouse. Guys don't wear blouses, do they? I don't know the difference between a blouse and a shirt. All I know is girls wear blouses or blouses. Is it blouses or blouses? I don't know. What do I know? I don't use that word. I never use the word blouse. 9:21. Legacy 1160 WSKW. Freedom's Pep Rally. Like us, share us, whatever. Thank you so much. And thank you for the friend requests. I'm getting a bunch of friend requests lately on my page, and I will tell you, don't delete the request. I will friend you as soon as I can. My problem is that I'm at the Facebook limit, and while you can request me as a friend and think I'm just being a snot-nosed brat, I cannot accept you because I cannot, if I try to accept you, it says, you have reached your limit. Facebook demands you either wait or delete somebody. I don't have to worry because people delete me all the time. They hear about 2 seconds of the show. They accidentally happen onto the show, and they hear me talking about something they disagree with, and they unfriend me. This happens quite a bit. Oh, I just got an invitation to join Ryan on MeWe. That's another one. We've got so many social media sites popping up. Thanks to Facebook's censorship and Twitter's censorship, it's amazing. It is amazing. The social media sites that are popping up now, and they're good ones. Parler is a good site. USA.life is a good site. MeWe, I have not been on. I've heard about it. I've been told about it. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm very inactive on those two platforms. It's all the time thing, you know? We'd all like to be on all these things, and I should be, and I will be. But try USA.life. I am streaming. We are streaming there now. That's good. And it's a shared link on, and I'm Jon James on USA.life. I'm not streaming this morning on Parler. It's just too many things to do as I'm trying to get ready for the show because Mike and I dovetail, and the only time I can do this is when I have this area to myself. And obviously, we bump against each other, literally sometimes, and so I don't have time to get all this done. Does that make any sense? Yeah, I think it does. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The whole show is going to make a lot of sense, I guarantee you, though. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about this morning. And, oh, by the way, update. Joe Biden, still not president-elect. I'm sorry. Okay, though, there go a couple more friends. Okay, so, no, that's the way it goes. He's not. He's not the president-elect. So, put that in your pipe and smoke it, as my dad used to say. I have no idea what that meant. My dad was a pipe smoker, so maybe he made that up. I don't think he did. It's 9:24 right now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. I don't have any Today in History for you. So we're going to skip that. And Christmas, they're telling you to stay home for Christmas. Please stay home for Christmas. Suffer by yourself. There'll be snow and a very warm glow, but there will be no elf. Santa Claus being told to stay away this year. I'm going to write some anti-Christmas songs for Dr. Fauci and the Democratic governors and Janet Mills. I'm gonna have put that in your sock, Janet. Oh, Christmas is going to be a lot different this year for kids too. Santa will still bring toys to the good boys and girls. Don't worry, kids. Santa is still going to bring toys to the good girls and boys. However, the kids who have been naughty are going to get a copy of Obama's new memoir. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. That was pretty good, wasn't it? Thank you. Thank you very much. I've got another Santa Claus fact here for you. According to a new poll, most Americans think Santa Claus is a Democrat. which is logical because if he were a Republican, it wouldn't sit well with the Elves Union. No more. No, I'm not going to push it. 2 Santa jokes is enough. What's that about Rudolph? What? Liberals are complaining that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is problematic because of bigotry and bullying. Really? No kid, that's the truth, apparently. You've seen Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Liberals are complaining Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is problematic, the show, because of bigotry and bullying. Well, I got news for you. Rudolph has responded by saying, liberals are a-holes. That's from Rudolph to you, lefties. 9:20. Boy, it sure doesn't feel like Christmas, doesn't it? There's a lot of vitriol flying around here. But it's festive vitriol, which is better than the angry vitriol. Okay, let's get serious here. It's time to get serious. 621-975-9207-441-6969. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. People like the way I say that. I'll say it for you again because I like the way I say it too. It feels I enjoy rolling my R's because it feels good on it makes my whole face vibrate. Okay, I'll do it for you slowly. Alexandria. Oh, that was bad. Wait a minute. Let me get. No, I just got to take a sip of water. All right. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You heard what she's doing? Because you can't get enough of this god-awful representative, this socialist. She's okay. You've got to keep that in mind. Keep in mind, she's an avowed socialist, like Bernie Sanders and the rest of the squad. Well, she has been a vocal critic of capitalism, clearly calling for a revolution, calling for us to get rid of capitalism and replace it with more socialism. Well, in the past, she's instructed nearly 11 million Twitter followers to resist distasteful capitalism. And she called capitalism irredeemable. Okay, that's where she stands. Now, here comes the caveat. Oh, let me also mention, she also kept Amazon, which, by the way, is now hiring about 1,400 people a day. Hello? How many people out there working at their jobs right now would like to go work for Amazon in a big, beautiful office building or a big, beautiful warehouse that probably has gymnasiums and cafeterias and accoutrements like you have never seen the likes of? How would you like to work at a place like Amazon, get a good paycheck, probably some excellent vacation time, bonuses maybe, I don't know, certainly good pay? How would you like to? 1,400 people a day they're hiring. Ocasio-Cortez kept them out of New York City because she didn't like the fact they were going to get tax breaks. The evil man, Jeff Bezos, is getting rich. Rich, I tell you, off the poor workers. Well, the poor workers are happy. They've got jobs. They work 8 hours or 10 hours, whatever, and they go home and they can have vacation. They can live there. That's what most Americans want, that kind of a life. They don't care to be a billionaire like Jeff Bezos necessarily. That takes a ton of work. That's a 24/7 commitment. When you're making that kind of money, building that kind of empire, that is a commitment. Most people have lives to live and are happy getting by, maybe having some extra, and spending their time with family. So they embrace capitalism, but not AOC. She kept Amazon out because Jeff Bezos is making too much money. There shouldn't be no billionaires in America. So New York City lost the biggest one, arguably one of the biggest employers there in the area, in the city, lost one of the biggest employers right now in the world because she didn't like them. She hates capitalism. Now, this week, she fully embraced capitalism by selling shirts. She's selling sweatshirts that say, tax the rich. Because she hates rich people. She hates rich people, so she set up a store selling sweatshirts that say, tax the rich. Guess how much the sweatshirts cost? Are you ready? $58 a piece. Tax the rich. Only the rich can afford one of her stupid sweatshirts. I'm not making this up. She's got a store full of merchandise. It's the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez sweatshirt shop. Pre-orders taken this week. And here's how they're described. They're described as a gender-neutral fit shirt. We've got to get every bit of social justice and virtue signaling we can into this store. So she's embracing this non-capitalist, embracing capitalism, selling tax the rich sweatshirts for $58 a piece. And she's calling them a gender-neutral fit. Now, if you can afford the expensive long-sleeve shirts, good for you. But you can also purchase T-shirts for a much less price. Oh, and the shirts aren't self-serving. The T-shirts aren't self-serving at all. No, they say AOC plus me. Oh, isn't that AOC plus me? I would be proud to wear one of those. Not. They're only $27 each. So you can get a sweatshirt for $58, tax the rich, or you can get a much cheaper T-shirt, AOC plus me, for $27. So instead of paying off the student loan or making a payment on your apartment or home or a car payment, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Get a cancel student debt T-shirt. $27. They've even got a T-shirt. She's even got a T. You can look this up in the AOC store. She's got a shirt that says, drink water and don't be a racist. What? That's stupid. But she must have come up with this herself. She must have come up with these slogans herself. Sounds like she did. $27 a piece. The AOC shop also has $24 posters. How about this? You want to buy a onesie for the little one? Oh, I got to get my daughter one of these for her new kid coming in January. Maisie. Little Maisie's coming in January. I can't wait. Our first granddaughter. This will be our sixth grandkid. 6? 1, 2, 3. No, this will be our fifth grandkid. Sorry. We got 4 boys, first granddaughter. But she's selling onesies promoting the Green New Deal. They're only $25. $25 for a onesie. No, thank you, AOC. No, thank you on the Green New Deal onesie. I'll pass, thank you. What else does she? She has an abolish ICE hat. Oh, there you go. You want to get as anti-government as you can. Abolish ICE. Abolish the police who keep us safe from foreign invaders. Yeah, you want to abolish them. No, AOC, you moron. You idiot. You thug. You half-wit of a woman. You poor excuse. You poor example of a bartender, you. Stop. Just shut up. Stop while you're ahead. The Constitution says that's why the government is here, to protect our natural rights. And that includes from enemies, foreign and domestic. ICE is here to prevent us from foreign enemies, foreign infiltrators, foreign border crossers. She wants to abolish ICE, and now you can get a nice hat to proclaim your love for abolishing ICE, only $27. Or you can get a $27 mug that promotes AOC. So when you raise your glass, you can think, what, no beer mugs? No beer mugs? Well, I'm not interested then. AOC. How about that? Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? The loudest, brashest socialist, not the brashest, okay. One of the brashest socialists, one of the most outspoken out there socialists in our government. I hate to say in our government, because we shouldn't have socialists in our government. We shouldn't. We should not. This is not a socialist country. Why should we have socialists in the government? We shouldn't. But she's there, and she's brash, and she's loud, and she won't shut up. She will not go away. And now you can buy a commemorative shirt, hat, mug, onesie, all for a low fee that ranges from $25 for the onesie up to $58 for a nice AOC sweatshirt. God bless America. Can't make this stuff up, I'm telling you. We've got to take a break here. Stay with me. I mean, we're gonna cover a bunch of stuff, and I need you here. I need you here with me. I mean, we're friends. We are friends. We have to stick together. We do. I mean, we just do. We need to be. We need a mob. We're not a mob. We are a group. We are a group of like-minded individual friends. And together we are strong, we are powerful, and we have to fight back. From sea to shining sea, we have to. There is no choice. There is no choice. The mob is trying to rule us with loud voices, with threats, with death threats, with force. And that includes, sadly, a lot of Republicans now. Stick with me. We'll be back. Like I said, a lot to talk about. I'm John James. This is Freedom's Pep Rally.
WSKW, AM 1160.
If you've checked that gift list twice and it's got something different for everyone on it, just head to Town Line Antique Center on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line. With 2 floors and over 50 dealers, you can find the perfect gift for each one of them. Are you worried about spending too much? Well, don't. Town Line Antiques is here to help you with that too. Because all December long, every booth at Town Line Antiques is offering discounts of 10, 20, 30, 40, and yes, even 50% off their selection. There's always new, cool, and unique gift ideas, including things like collectibles, furniture, artwork, signs, books, and so much more. Of course, the problem is you'll not only find lots of great gift ideas, you'll come across things that you may want to take home too. But with their December sale of up to 50% off store-wide, you can take them home, all of them, for less. So don't miss out on this Santa-sized sale with savings of up to 50% off this December at Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5 on Route 201 right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
Kennebec Eye Care is pleased to let you know that they have reopened for routine eye care with temporary office hours Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Fridays from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. To schedule an appointment, call 872-2797. Kennebec Eye Care will continue to follow all CDC guidelines to make sure everyone stays safe and healthy. Contact lens can still be ordered over the phone and mailed to you, or you can set up a time for curbside pickup of contact lens or glasses. Kennebec Eye Care, your sight specialists at 216 Main Street in Waterville, would like to say thank you to everyone for supporting local businesses.
Nothing gives you more comfort and security during a power outage than a wood stove from Regency. So visit Somerset Stone and Stove. Installing an efficient Regency wood stove will keep your family warm during those bone-chilling nights. And if you need it, Somerset Stone also offers professional delivery, installation, and financing options on all Regency stoves. Stop by Somerset Stone and Stove and save on your Regency wood stove at 1078 Kennedy Memorial Drive in Oakland. Online at somersetstoneandstove.com.
Interested in cutting your fuel oil bills by as much as 40%? Then call your Energy Kinetic System 2000 premier dealer, Pools, Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, and ask about the System 2000. You can save up to 40% off your heating costs and have all the hot water you need with the System 2000 from Energy Kinetics. Whether you're planning on replacing your current boiler or building a new home, stop into the Pools showroom at 19 North Street in Waterville and see the System 2000 from Energy Kinetics. The System 2000 runs on oil or propane, can be converted between fuels with a simple burner change, is whisper quiet, and can save you up to 40% off your heating fuel cost. If you own an older boiler, help keep it running more efficiently with a cleaning and tune-up. And don't forget, when you need emergency service, call Hool's 24-hour service department at 872-6762. Hool's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your System 2000 premier dealer.
Season's greetings from WSKW, Legacy 1160.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Mostly cloudy this morning and through the day today, with highs climbing into the mid to upper 40s. A winter storm watch is in effect for most of Maine and New Hampshire. It looks like we'll start with some rain, then change to snow with heavy snow expected. We'll also be becoming windy with some power outages possible. Snow moves out Sunday morning, cold with highs in the low to mid 30s, partly sunny 30s to start next week.
Your pep rally for
Interested
freedom
in
is
cutting
back.
your fuel
Powered
oil
by
bills
the
by
Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Hey. Hang on. We have a meltdown here. No, we're good. Don't worry about me. 621-9759, 207-441-6969 are the numbers to call. You want to reach out and get in touch? You want to talk with us? You want to text us? 207-441-6969 are the numbers to use. Today is December 4th. Happy birthday to my buddy Rick Dunn. Who, anybody listening who deals with mechanical stuff at a garage or something probably knows Ricky. He's a Snap-on tool guy, has been for many, many, many moons. I don't know what town he's in today, but he's all over Maine. He's Skowhegan. He's Eastern Maine, Western Maine, Augusta, Maine. I don't know how far south he goes, but happy birthday yesterday. Happy belated birthday yesterday, Rick. And happy birthday tomorrow to my brother Danny. And my birthday is coming up. Don't get me any gifts on December 14th. No, I shouldn't even tell you when it's going to be, December 14th. And I have a physical on the 13th. That's how I'm remembering my physical this year. It's the day before my birthday. So I've got that to look forward to. Happy birthday, Johnny. At least it's not on my birthday. It's 9:44 now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Maxine Waters, another piece of work, right? Maxine Waters. What's Maxine up to? Well, she's back in the news. She's been elected, you know that, right? Because people in California, in those districts where they elect people like Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff and Maxine Waters, they're stupid. They're stupid people there. Otherwise, they would know better. I would sooner vote, literally, I would sooner vote for an amoeba or a paramecium than vote for, because they individually, an amoeba and a paramecium have more brain matter than Maxine Waters does. Well, this has just come out. She was elected for another term in Congress last month, and it turned out to be a financial windfall for Karen Waters, according to Fox News. That would be Maxine's daughter. Karen received a total of $250,000 from Mama's campaign. $250,000. Here you go, honey. Here you go. Buy yourself something nice. The dollar figure appears to mirror what Karen received during her mother's previous campaign in 2018 because they can't get enough of their Maxine Waters. Remember her, don't you? Impeach 45! Impeach 45! Shut your trap, Maxine. Maxine was also, oh, this is why they love her. She was on stage talking to a group of supporters, telling them to get in the faces of conservatives or people who work for the conservatives in Congress and at gas stations and restaurants and tell them, get out. We don't want you here. You don't belong here. Who incites violence in this country if not the left? Tell me who incites violence if not the left? People like Maxine Waters, who, by the way, is a racist. Did you know that? Did you know Maxine Waters is a racist? Oh, but black people can't be racist. I've heard that. Shut up. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. If you're saying that, leave now, because you're not going to like anything that comes out of my mouth for the next 2.5 hours or 2 hours, whatever we've got left. So in 2018, another $250,000. So that's $500,000 in 2 years just from Mama. Just from Mama. The 2018 report explained that the bulk of Karen Waters' payments were for slate mailer services that the daughter provided for the campaign, in which other candidates in Southern California paid Maxine Waters' campaign for endorsement quotes that appeared on mailings sent out to voters on behalf of the other candidates. So the other candidates got a quote from Maxine Waters that they could send out to their constituents and say, look, Maxine supported me. Vote for me. Maxine supported me. So her daughter was involved in this. And so her daughter got $250,000 both times, give or take, for that. Because her mother said I'm not going to do a Maxine Waters impression. First of all, I would need to get red lipstick. I would need to get lipstick to the point that I'd look like a clown. And I'm sorry, and that's not racist, by the way. That's just observational stuff right there. Maxine Waters literally looks like a clown sometimes when she comes out in that bright red lipstick in that big gaping mouth of her. Impeach 45. There is nothing likable about that woman. How she gets elected, I don't know. If I were a Democrat, I wouldn't vote for her because she is just so unlikable. Now, back in 2004, the LA Times reported that various Waters family members had pocketed a total of more than $1 million over 8 years from businesses and campaigns who had a connection to Maxine. But she separated herself from any ties to those activities. So while she denied it and she kept winning re-election, her family, not unlike Joe Biden's family, got rich. And none of her constituents did, but she and her family, they were big winners. They were big winners. Now, do you remember earlier this year when Waters seemed to be unwilling to forgive any black people who voted for Donald Trump?
And for those black young men who think somehow they can align themselves with Trump, not only are they terribly mistaken, any of them showing their face, I will never, ever forgive them for undermining the possibility to help their own people and their own communities.
Oh, well, she'll never forgive. If you're black and you vote for Trump, she'll never forgive you. And, some people were probably triggered by that and said, oh, my God, Maxine's, she's not going to forgive me if I vote for Donald Trump. So you can help. So you can help your people, she says. Sounds like she helps her people, doesn't it? Well, if you're part of her family, she helps you. If you're part of the black community who supports Mad Maxine, well, if you think she has your six, well, she doesn't. Unless she or her family can benefit. If you're part of her family, she'll take care of you. But forget it. If you're just a mere voter, screw you. Just vote for me, and then I'll forget you for another 2 years till I come up for re-election. Because I know doesn't matter what I say, what I do. Doesn't matter how I speak. You'll vote for me. You got to love these career politicians. This is how they think. And they apparently know their constituents pretty well. Is it any wonder the nation is going to hell? Ruled by the mob, with Republicans oftentimes afraid to say anything. Oh my God, they're going to cancel me. They're going to come after me. I can't get into that mind. Look at me here. I don't care what I say if it offends anybody. I know the truth. I care about America. You should too. I mean, it's great if you're out there, if you're listening right now and you're a cheerleader, that's great. We need cheerleaders, but we also need people to take the enthusiasm they have for hearing people speak the truth. They need to take that out and they need to say, I'm done. I'm done taking this crap from the mob, from the left. They aren't going to run us. They aren't going to run our community. They aren't going to run down our names and our systems and capitalism. They aren't going to do it. We need to take a stand. If you're a cheerleader for anything I say, anything at all, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I mean that. We're friends. I really do feel we are kindred spirits. And I think together we can do amazing things. But we can't be afraid. We can't be silent anymore. The time is long past to go with the flow. Because the flow, if you go with the flow, if you jump in a river and you don't swim against the current, you are going to be taken downstream and you are going to be lost forever. And that's where we are. It's too bad because Americans, in our wildest dreams, our freedom should allow us to, even if we disagree, to understand this is a great system. This is the way it works. We need to improve certain things, but we're okay. We can't take our eye off the prize. And that is making everyone equal, everyone happy, and not infringing on anybody else's rights and taking care of things that come up as they happen, whether it be, racism with police, racism with individuals, it be bank robbers, child molesters, murderers. We take care of these things when they happen. That's how our system is set up. But by and large, we should be able to live our lives without having to worry and not having to swim against a current, because there should be no major current. It should be an easy swim, but it no longer is. It's a hard swim. And if we don't swim it, if we want to be lazy, if we just want to throw our arms up and say, well, it'll be whatever will be, say, que sera, sera, c'est la vie. If we're there, then we're doomed. That's why we need to speak up and speak out. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to go out and get a crowd together and go protest or anything like that. But when somebody says something to you or in a group of you that you disagree with, then disagree. Speak up. You don't have to fight, but let them know they aren't the only opinion in the room. There is the problem. We will be in groups. I've been in groups of people. And inasmuch as you, and I was in a family group last Christmas. I was at my in-laws. We were a family, big in-law family. Great people. They're great people. But the political thinking is all over the place. So somebody started railing against Donald Trump, my president, your president. I don't care if you're left or right. He's your president. Just like if Joe Biden becomes president, he'll be my president. I'm not an idiot. I'm not a smug idiot who's going to say, "Oh, he's not my president." Yeah, well, yeah, he is. He is by definition. If you're in America, unless you want to move out and become sovereign, go somewhere, go to Canada. I don't go someplace else that you think is better and live. Then whoever the president is your president. So I'm sitting with this group of people, and they start railing, a couple of them, not all, because like I say, we're all over the place. And this one person wants to pick a fight and starts railing again. Why? Out of the blue. We decided there was going to be no politics at this gathering. We're just not going to do it. And politics, and one of the people started railing on Trump. And I said, wait, hold on, wait just a minute. I said, that's not entirely true. I can't even remember what it was. It may have been about immigration. It may have been about tax cuts. This was before the whole racial thing came up. This was last Christmas. Actually, was it last? No, it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago. 2 Christmases ago. And so I pushed back. And then another, a brother-in-law who I love right to pieces. We talk politics all the time. He's just such a great guy to talk with, and we're on the same page. So he starts chiming in. And then one of the other ones who's on this first guy's side, and so then we start, it didn't get out of hand. I mean, there was no food fight, thank God, because I didn't want the food to go to waste, but we started going back and forth, and this one guy who started it got up and walked out of the party and left and went home. Well, there you go. Okay. Must have felt very strongly about that opinion, I guess. Everybody else stayed. And we had a great time. The one guy who started it, who started railing on Donald Trump, who experienced some pushback that I guess they weren't expecting, got up and left. Now, I don't know. I don't think the goal was to start a fight and then leave, but it's somebody who started a fight and then couldn't stand the heat. You know, can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen, right? So this is where we're at. This is all I'm saying. Uh-oh. Got to take a break. Oh, I missed it. Okay. So we don't have to take a break. We are running late. I've got to get out of the hour here. And we've got a lot more coming back. Now, where'd I leave off? Well, anyway, so what I'm saying is you don't have to get together a group, a community. You don't have to be a community organizer. This is the good news. You can engage if you want. You can go to hearings at the State House or wherever you want to go. You can go to pro-gun rallies. These show support for the cause. But even if you're just in groups of people, when somebody starts pushing against your beliefs, push back. That's the problem. Conservatives, for such a long time, have been afraid to push back. And I get that. I understand that. Well, I don't like to start it. I don't like to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You have to. Please. I'm begging you. Get engaged. Don't look for engagement. But if it comes your way, don't say, okay, all right, whatever you say. Tell them what you think. if you know what you think. I mean, if you don't know how to say what you think in a way that's not going to be taken wrong, then don't say it. But if don't get all stirred up inside and say, geez, I wish I could say this, and then not say it. You don't have to be angry. Again, that's the caveat right there. Because you start pushing back, the other side is most always going to get angry. Most always. I've seen it. I've done this many times. But you can have a good conversation with people on the other side, because I've had that too. And that's very fulfilling. That's kind of nice. Sometimes you can even win people over to your side, or at the very least, help them to see your point of view. You know, obviously, get them won over to your side's the best thing, but just to acknowledge, hey, you know, you've got a point there, that is a win in my book. Okay, we've got to take a break. After the news, we'll be back with a ton more. Thank you for being here. Pep Rally for Freedom, I'm John James.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Faith Abube. The Labor Department's November figures out this morning show that employers added 245,000 jobs last month. Economists had expected around 450,000, the pace of job creation slowing as the pandemic took another turn for the worse. The U.S. reporting more than 2,800 COVID-19 deaths in a single day, another record. And the CDC now estimating the coronavirus death toll may be up to 329,000 by the day after Christmas. ABC News Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman.
Across the country, hundreds of doctors and nurses in many states are appealing directly to their governors. This is unprecedented, begging them for tighter restrictions, saying that their hospitals are on the brink of collapse.
In New York City this morning, 2 U.S. Marshals and an NYPD detective hurt and a suspect killed in a shootout. That suspect was wanted for the shooting of a Massachusetts state trooper on Cape Cod last month. This is ABC News. Less than 2 months before Inauguration Day, and the president's promising changes.
Even as he refuses to concede, Donald Trump is reshaping policies and disrupting government norms to the very end.
I think that there will be a lot of things happening between now and the 20th of January.
From immigration to environmental protections, Trump is pushing 11th hour rule changes that could last for years. They include religious exemptions for federal contractors, looser efficiency standards for shower heads and washing machines, and stricter eligibility for food stamps.
ABC's Devin Dwyer. A human smuggling operation found in Houston.
To Alex Bernal, nothing really seemed unusual about the man he saw coming and going from a house on his street.
He just seemed like a normal dude, normal clothes.
But police say that man was helping to run a human smuggling operation. One person managed to escape and run for help. Police found 24 others from Honduras, Mexico, and China being held against their will. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Faith Abube, ABC News.
Introducing Canada Dry Bold Ginger. It's not your grandma's ginger ale. I know, because I'm not your grandma. I don't pressure you to get married. I say play the field all you want. And I drink new Canada Dry Bold Ginger with an extra kick of real ginger taste that would blow the bingo cards out your grandma's bag. I drink it while watching backyard wrestling. There's more on the line when the wrestlers don't have insurance. New Canada Dry Bold Ginger, not your grandma's ginger ale.
Before you drive the all-new Nissan Rogue, you gotta ask yourself, how rogue are you gonna go? We talking be one with nature in the desert rogue? Go snowshoeing in Alaska rogue? Or take the long way home just because kind of rogue? Just a question, but with 5 available drive modes, you're sure to find the answer.
Go rogue in the all-new, fiercely reimagined 2021 Nissan Rogue, now with the most standard safety features in its class. See Owner's Manual for important safety information. Auto Pacific segmentation. 2021 Nissan Rogue versus latest in market competitors. Base models compared.
It's time for a little fun, a few laughs, and a whole lot of truth. The John James Show is on Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Hi. How are you today? I ever get somebody on the phone? I don't know. Probably hung up by now. It's taken forever to answer. Hi. You're on with John. You there? Hello.
Hi.
Hey. This is Megan.
Yes.
Didn't see the caller ID. I can't see the caller ID here unless I have a flashlight or my phone or something. It's dark. They hide it under it's like in the shade. It's awful. How are you?
Just watching the news and just.
Oh, don't sound bummed out. You got to be upbeat.
No, it's good news I'm seeing, but it's just like, when are people going to wake up?
No, they aren't. They aren't going to wake up. We've got to wake them up, and that's the problem. That's the thing we got to do. That's why we have to stay diligent. We can't rest. Can't rest on our laurels. So that's good.
Now you have to. I think you should have to take a test to go. You should actually know something about the candidate.
Well, you know what? I would love to say I agree with you, and I do to an extent, but obviously, vote. You can't do that in a free society. But that stupid people vote. There's no question about it. Stupid people vote, and
people drive too, but it doesn't mean you should always drive.
No, that's true. Yeah, well, driving's a privilege. Voting is a right. So that's the.
No, I think it should be considered a right and a privilege because, I mean, if illegals here, they're not allowed to vote or they shouldn't be allowed to vote, right?
Well, I don't think anybody who's not here legally should ever be allowed to vote. But of course,
take it more seriously.
Joe Biden wants to change all that. Joe Biden wants to change it, and so does Kamala Harris and AOC. And
started on her.
Well, you know what? She's in your AOC. She's in your state. You've got more of a reason than I do to dislike her. But I mean, they're bad. They're not just bad for New York. They're bad for America. These people like her are just bad for America. I don't see
what AOC's any of her qualifications are to be in government.
She has none. She has no qualifications. She's a moron. And
I would be better a candidate in office because I know more.
Well, absolutely.
I'm sorry to say, and that's the way it used to be, John. Any blue collar worker used to be able to go and run for Congress easily. Now it's all about money and who you know in your tie.
Yeah, and oftentimes the way you look. So, well, that said, I don't know how Maxine Waters keeps getting reelected, but that's another story. I won't go there. And
I mean, it's better for a blue collar worker, a blue dog to be in office because they know the real world.
Of course. It absolutely is.
Overeducated people with a piece of paper.
Well, they think they know more than we do, and that's another problem, and they don't.
It's like my mom. I hear the saying all the time when I was growing up. There's book smarts and there's street smarts. There's a difference, and honestly, book smart, great, but street smart. People are a lot smarter than they give us credit for.
Well, we had a street smart governor here, and I don't know how book smart he was. I don't know. He may be back. His name is Paul LePage. You may have heard of him, and he was a street smart kid, and he could be a little bit of a bully, but boy, he got things done, and he was like, I swear, Donald Trump took a page out of LePage's book, or vice versa. I don't know. They're almost like two peas in a pod. I mean, they're like bulls in china shops. And that worked. Maine loved Paul LePage, at least the Mainers who really cared about freedom and cared about the economy and cared about something other than feelings liked him.
Yeah, people out, smart, book smart, and almost anybody could get it now with this whole, everybody gets a word, culture, nobody's a loser.
Oh,
but
no.
You can't get street smarts anywhere.
Well,
and you know what? Just because somebody might, educate themselves, on history or the political system, without having a degree, doesn't mean that they're any less smarter than someone who went to college.
Oh, that piece of paper means nothing. Tell me, what's more important? Who really has the ability to be in the government and know what is right for the people of America? Is it somebody who took their own time, didn't go to college, and took their own time and sat down, read the Constitution, read the Declaration of Independence, learned their history, or is it somebody that graduates from Yale with a degree in gender studies? Who's more qualified to run the world? To run,
exactly.
It
like these people who swear an oath to serve and protect, our cops, our military, they understand the Constitution better than anybody else.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up. I wasn't a great history student, but I paid close enough attention to history. So when I started seeing what was going on in the government, I wanted to know more. So that's when I dove in. And I think a lot of times people learn history out of the feeling of necessity to learn about history. What makes this country
my
tick?
grandfather always had a saying, if you're not learning something new every day, you might as well be 6 feet under the ground.
Oh yeah, right. Absolutely. I keep a Constitution right on the homepage of my phone because I don't have every amendment memorized and what the numbers and what they correlate to. I wish I did. I know a lot about the Constitution. I've learned a lot about the Constitution, but I don't have a good memory when it comes to the numbers and everything.
I'm not going to say I know it verbatim 100%, but I probably know it better than some common people.
Oh, you probably know it a hell of a lot better than AOC. I'll tell you that right now. But did you know?
Compared to a regular person, I swore an oath to that. That's what made me want to serve my country. That it was based on that document, 100%.
Right. Now you're an Air Force veteran, right?
Navy.
Navy. I was going to go into the Navy. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
I was going to go into the Navy. I took the test. I had a recruiter come into. I went to Gardner High School back when I don't know if they still allow recruiters in the schools or not because war's awful. But we had a recruiter come in, and so he got me to take this test. I can't remember what the test was called, but I took the test, and my buddy and I took the test, and my buddy's birthday was yesterday. That's the guy I was talking about earlier, and I actually qualified for the nuclear program, and the recruiter made it seem like, wow, that's pretty good. I don't know if it is or not. Is it?
It's called an ASVAB test.
ASVAB, thank you. Yeah.
This is your different abilities, your critical thinking, your problem solving, your math, your science, your reasoning, thought process. And that is pretty good. I mean, when I took mine, I qualified for anywhere from decades, they call it in the Navy.
Yeah.
Or to translator.
Translator? Do you speak?
I even was highly ranked in the category of being a mechanic as well.
Oh, is that right?
Well,
wow.
When I grew up, I always thought, growing up that my dad was really disappointed he had me. He wanted a son first. So he treated me like a son. I didn't get treated like a girl. And I was always helping my dad work on transmissions in the yard, in the driveway.
Yeah.
Dad was a mechanic. He went to BOCES for being a mechanic.
Good for you.
He worked 4 or 5 jobs. So I was always working on cars with my dad.
Oh, that's nice. That's good. I love that. I wasn't
a traditional girl.
No, that's good. Hey, I love that. I think that's great. I wish there were more women mechanics around at the garages. I'm sure there are some, but I don't see very many of them. But there are some women who are very, very good with automobiles. And there are other women who I've worked with and men, I'm not going to name names, who have to call AAA when they get a flat tire.
No, I know how to change my tire. I know how to change my oil.
Change the oil, yeah?
In fact, I have guy friends who come to me and ask me when their car's making a certain sound, like, what do you think it is?
Is that right?
My knowledge, knowing that my friends knew that my dad was a mechanic and I knew a lot about cars, and I could tell them right off the bat, like, that's what's wrong with your car. It's your transmission. It's your radiator. It's your fuel exhaust.
Well, it's your torque converter is leaking some transmission fluid and your vacuum tube going into the carburetor. I was a crack mechanic when I was in high school. This is before the computers and, back when they had the carburetors and all that stuff. And I was good. I actually replaced a transmission in my car. I took the head off and replaced the head gasket and the valve the valve seals. And I was pretty good. I was good at all that stuff. And
I had a lot of friends who came to me for legal advice too, because they knew at the time, I was living in Idaho, that I was going through political science, and I had a habit of educating myself on, the codes,
Yep.
the criminal codes and all that.
Yep.
And, what the rights were. So I had a friend who was going through a divorce and a child custody, matter, and he asked for my opinion because he knew I understood the legal jargon.
The legalese, yeah.
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 So, I've had people come to me on advice on that because I educate myself.
Yeah, that's good.
Beyond my years of college, I educate myself on a lot of things.
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't know as I can recall a lot of law, but I've got to tell you, I worked for a company called Ameribar, which I got a good friend who's an attorney out of that. His name is Alex Nakis. He's in Florida, and I used to work for him doing I did the audio lectures for the bar exam, and I learned all these pronunciations that I had never heard of before. So I can pronounce almost anything in law. If you show me the word, I can usually say it. I'm almost as good as the legal dictionary at this point.
Well, the part that helps me, with legal stuff is I have a lot of lawyers in my family, actually.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And I have a lot of people who went to school for law school. My sister, I'm the oldest of five. The second oldest, she went to school and got a paralegal degree. I have an uncle who's a top lawyer in Central New York and goes and works on anything from criminal law to injury, and owns his own law firm. So I'm very, very intuitive about illegal stuff.
So you're a Jill of all. It sounds like you're a Jill of all trades, which is great. Which I know, I respect that. I think that's fantastic. But you're also very savvy when it comes to politics, and you keep your eyes.
Oh, I always have been. I mean, from
Yeah.
a very young age, times were different when I was a kid versus now with kids.
Yeah.
Now in me. I grew up watching the news all the time. I was not, accustomed to being cushioned or, a blow lesson to me about what was really going on in the world. So when I was, a young teenager, I started watching even, footage of wars going on overseas. So I was very alert to what was going on. I wasn't in the dark about it at all.
Yeah, it got to the point. Yeah, me either. And it got to the point, especially in the 90s and on up into the 2000s, where I was really over ingesting news. And before I got this show, I'm not kidding you, and I've told this story before I got this show, I would get my mood would be different. I would get and I had no way to get it out because I'm on commercial pop music radio, and I've got all of this pent up frustration that I need to get out because I want to make a difference. And I couldn't because the listeners would threaten to boycott. They'd come say, we're not going to listen anymore. It'd be boycott the Moose, which is the station I worked for. They would never do it, but it just angered me because people are so single-minded. You can't voice an opinion. And I would get scolded. You're setting an example for our kids. You shouldn't. Shut up.
I try to like to believe that when I talk politics, it's not my opinion. It's just hardcore facts.
Facts.
I
Right.
look at the records. I look at what's happened in politics, in government, in Senate, and the kind of things they pass and what's been vetoed, in the process. So, I already knew when they announced Biden as the president-elect, I knew that wasn't right, and I wasn't getting too, worried because I know there's a process to it, a long process, in fact.
Absolutely. But let me play devil's advocate here for a minute because I like what you're saying, but you sound like you're almost going the other way on it. I too agree that this election was rigged. But I am not going to state as fact that Donald Trump will be president. as they are stating as fact, Joe Biden is president. Now shut up. I'm saying we don't know. They're saying he is.
A place of trust in our president and the kind of bulldog, and rally cry that we needed, the Conservative Party, and to give the man a little room and and trust that he's going to succeed, because look at what he's already all been through.
I do.
And his term. Plus, it's my faith in God, and that
absolutely.
the truth will come out. And the kind of evidence that's pouring out, John, is like never before. Not even with the Russian collusion.
Oh, gosh.
Or Ukraine or any of that.
Russian collusion.
Evidence is like to the point my father described it as a pressure cooker ready to explode.
Yeah.
And you cannot, or like the definite, how Sidney Powell defined it, it's coming in so fast. It's like a fire hose.
It is. It is.
To the point that it cannot be, scattered up and recant. It's coming out way too fast, and there's too much coming out.
It is.
People are waking up every day.
I'm
hearing Democrats waking up every day.
Yes, but this is going to end up, at best case scenario, this is going to end up going to the courts. And it's still, who knows? I mean, we've had a. And
I truly believe that was his plan from the get-go.
We've had so-called conservative judges flat out rule against Donald Trump, and depending on what their political feelings are, or fear of repercussion, or
that's the problem with our legal system. It's very biased.
Right. It is
to check your biases and your opinions at the door when you're an attorney and you're a judge. And we've seen that happen for how many years?
Right,
that's not being done.
But they're human. They're human, and they can't help themselves.
I understand that. And that's why if this goes to the Supreme Court, and I do believe it will, we have a lot of true constitutionalists, who follow the letter of the law.
We do.
And I don't think that this whole process, these little legal battles, was the objective of Trump. It's like a chess game. I think it was, he implemented things ahead of time. I mean, it's now proven that the watermarks on the ballots are an actual thing, and they were patent, and it was done ahead of time. Well into 2018, when we start getting first, alerted by Trump that this was going to be a problem, this election, he knew from the get-go. Now, he didn't know about COVID happening, but he knew it was going to be on a scale like we've never seen before.
No, I know. I knew from the get-go this was going to be problematic. I said it last year. I said there's going to be widespread voter fraud. I knew there would be, because...
And he's determined to uncover it all.
Yeah.
It is. He's more about these little legal ballots. That's why he's pushing for all these hearings with the legislature in different states, to open people's eyes, to present all the evidence that he's being denied in the smaller courts to the public, to make their own judgment, and for these legislators to take back their constitutional right that they have, which means where they could just not pick electors. That is their power, and they need to take it back. And it's like sad to see that a younger attorney like Jenna Ellis and Giuliani had to remind them of that. That is your constitutional power that you have and right.
Yep. I think they're doing great. Now, while my hope is just as high as ever, my faith is wavering a little bit, but we'll see. You can't give up. Keep the faith as much as you can, and the hope.
I have faith and hope, because I always truly believe that, no matter, like, when I look at my own life, and, I say, I've said in the past when I've had moments of, lapse faith, why do the things happen to me that they do? But this is not forever on earth. It's a test to see who's worthy to go up to heaven. And, and your true character, your true grit is tested in times like this. It's not the easy time.
No,
I learned that with being raised and all that. It's when it matters. That's when you're truly tested. And if you prevail on the good side, you've passed the test. We might not always understand it as humans, but that's not us for us to understand. And I've come to learn this.
Yeah, well,
And I
if you're a
think faith and truth will, prevail.
if you're a person of faith, that's all you can do. You can hope, you can pray, and that's what I do. And I've got to let you go, Megan, but I appreciate your call. I appreciate your time. Hang in there.
Have a good day, John.
Have a good weekend, okay?
You too.
Bye now.
Bye.
1025 on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Yeah, have the faith. You get it. We're going to have to start pushing back. Even if you only do it on social media. Again, try not to be rude. Sometimes I can be a little rude, not to individuals, but to the political empire, the political mob. Thank you, Max. Max just sent me a picture of me on the big screen at his house. Holy cow. What is that? 60 inches? Wow. I have never looked so big. That actually, I'm amazed with the picture quality. I'm not amazed with the way I look. Don't get me wrong. But holy cow, that's amazing. Thank you for that, Max. I appreciate that. Wow. I guess that streams pretty well. This platform's streaming pretty well, I guess. We've got 1026 on Legacy 1160 WSKW. And this is another one of my favorite people, Joy Reid. When I say favorite, by the way, you've got to understand that's sarcastic. That is sarcasm. Joy Reid, she is the second biggest racist on MSNBC, the first being Al Sharpton. Joy Reid was exceptionally off the rails last night. Now, always looking for a fight, she brings on guests. And this is the problem. This is why all of the progressive left is off the rails angry. This is why they yell, why they scream, why they burn things down, why they kill people. This is why. It's because of people like Joy Reid. Do you not get it? Do you not understand? The media pushes this. Chris Cuomo on CNN has pushed for violence. He has called for violence. This is your news that you ingest every day. These people like problems. These people like malcontent. So Joy Reid goes off the rails. She likes to bring on guests who stoke the fires of racism and give people plenty of fuel to get the rage level up to the boiling point. And boy, did she do it last night. I mean, you don't have guests on the panels. The panels on these shows are always very one-sided. And I try not to profile, but you can tell just by looking at the faces, the hairstyles. You can tell. You can tell just by looking at them. It's weird. I don't know how. I can't describe it, right? Can't you tell? You can tell by looking at them, usually, not always, usually, where they lean politically. There's something about the look on their face, the smugness in their face, the way they cut their hair. There's something of the way they walk. I don't know. I can't figure it out, but I usually can nail it. I will say, there we go, an all-liberal panel. Plus, I'm just starting to recognize their faces because they're paid regulars on these shows. Now, this is from Newsbusters, and I love the setup they did for this, so I'm going to give you the setup they wrote. Thursday night's Joy Reid featured one of the ugliest news segments one will ever see. Over the course of 8+ minutes, MSNBC host Joy Reid and the far-left race hustler Michael Eric Dyson viciously, there is a very operative word because you can use that word. This word is interchangeable with just about every liberal rant. Viciously condemned Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Cocaine Mitch, the turtle. He's Mitch McConnell. Condemning Mitch McConnell as a racist, a terrorist, a ventriloquist, Geppetto, if you will. Controlling Black Kentucky AG Daniel Cameron, who is a Republican, and he's a worshiper at the altar of whiteness who doesn't give a damn about those in poverty. Well, those are nice words. Aren't those nice words? Those don't stoke any hatred among the communities of color or of anybody, do they? Those are nice words. And he said it in such dulcet tones, such happy tones and friendly warm, and not. The altar of whiteness. Can you, oh, you know who else? So he called AG Daniel Cameron of Kentucky, he pretty much calls him a token black. Just like they called Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, what was it? Dick Durbin called him a token. When Scott introduced police reform that he had worked hard on. He's a black man. He understands what racism is. But they called him a token after all the work he did. Durbin later half-assed apologized. These people are incorrigible. You cannot reason with them. So why not let your side be known? I mean, you can't talk with them. They're probably going to yell or they're going to get up and leave the room. And they may say, I'm never going to talk to you again. Okay. Oh, well. I've got other friends. I don't need you if you're that shallow. See ya, buddy. The country's more important than your friendship, which isn't real friendship, is it? Not if you're leaving me because you disagree with me. So here is Joy Reid last night. This starts out with angry hate-monger Reid and goes right into enraged distinguished Professor Dyson. This is last night on The Readout.
What do you make of this attempt by Mitch McConnell to rebrand himself, in part by touting police reform, having signed a police reform bill? We know he blocked the one during President Obama's tenure, and that the House had passed a much more comprehensive one with chokehold bans and banning no-knock warrants and getting rid of qualified immunity. They passed a weaker version in the Senate and shoved Tim Scott out front to be the face man for it. I feel like Mitch McConnell is just as center to the sort of, diminution of black life that we've seen over the last 10 years as Trump.
Mitch McConnell, in this sense, if Donald Trump is a fast terrorist, is a fast racist, then Mitch McConnell is taking a slower train toward racial revulsion. He is enacting some of the worst practices we have seen in the history of this nation in regard to a senator blocking the coming to fruition of legislation that could relieve the hurt and suffering of black people. And to proudly stand up and say that he wanted to make Obama a one-term president. This shows us that the real religion in America is whiteness. The real politics in Mitch McConnell's orbit are whiteness. The worship of whiteness at the altar of whiteness, genuflecting before the God of whiteness.
Listen to this.
And therefore, Donald Trump is the product of a womb that has generated this disfigured person in terms of politics. But Mitch McConnell is part of that womb. Mitch McConnell gives life and breath to the very denunciation of blackness that Donald Trump has been so vehemently denounced for. And look, he then puts forward a blackface representation literally in Daniel Cameron. So there's a ventriloquism going on. Daniel Cameron's mouth is moving. Mitch McConnell's thoughts are coming through his tongue. This is the worst Geppetto we've ever seen. And pulling those strings was one of the worst white supremacist enactments that we've seen in the last 15 years in American politics.
Okay, all right. Well, there, I guess you know, Whitey. I guess you know where you belong. Worshipping at the altar of whiteness, genuflecting at the altar of whiteness. Wow. Can you contain the hate? This is MSNBC 24/7. If you don't watch MSNBC, you don't know this, but this is the way, this is how they are all the time. Everybody on every panel is always angry. They're always upset. They're never smiling. Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski never smiling. Mika sitting there with that, Donald Trump. And Joe Scarborough going off the rails, yelling into the camera. And if it were a comment show, I would say, well, you know, whatever, every to each his own. But it's supposed to be news. News without editorial comment, according to Chuck Todd. By the way, I'll have you know, I did a video. I made up a little video of Chuck Todd doing that stupid thing he says.
And just a reminder, for what it's worth, there is no editorial point of view here on any of these newscasts on MSNBC in the daytime.
Yeah, right. So I did a video of that, and I posted it at a few places, Freedom's Pep Rally, my page, and at American Women Who Bear Arms. I'll post it at the Legacy page, too, later on today. 1037 here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. We talked a little bit about John Kennedy yesterday and what John Kennedy warns about with the Joe Biden presidency. John Kennedy is a Louisiana senator, and the guy is awesome. The guy is wonderful from everything I can see, from everything he says. And again, I am a pretty good judge of character in people. I can tell whether or not, when I see somebody, I can tell whether or not I'd like to go out and have a beer with them. That's my acid test. Would I like to go out and have a beer with this guy? John Kennedy, you bet I would. Donald Trump, yes, sirree. Joe Biden, not really. Kamala Harris, no. No, I don't want to be looked down at during my beer. That's what Kamala Harris would look down her nose at me. Joe Biden wouldn't know where he was. Give him a beer, he'd probably fall on the floor. But John Kennedy, I could go out and hang out with, and I could learn a lot from the man. Now, he was on Fox News the other day with Shannon Bream, and they were talking about what'll happen with China under Joe Biden. Now that Biden is presumed the winner by mainstream media, the media that has excoriated Donald Trump for years is now sounding the alarms on Joe. Well, make up your mind. I guess the new rule of the media is if we're going to have anything to print or talk about, we've got to be the enemy of whoever's coming in. So now that Biden is the winner, they're starting the new... You can't make this stuff up. The New York Times is saying, well, you know, Donald Trump's been good with China. I think we're in trouble with China under Joe Biden. Well, hello, where have you been the last 4 years? The New York Times literally said this. Now, let's start with this. The interview starts, Bream quotes the New York Times article, which points out Trump's dealing with China is actually better than you can expect under Joe Biden. Absolutely true. And hold on a second here. Do we not have that ready? Oh, I've got to go back. Okay, hold on. I'll get it for you. Yeah, you've got to hear this. It was on the 2nd. It was 2 days ago. So it shouldn't be too hard to find. Am I right? Oh, okay, hold on. We got it. Okay, so this is with Shannon Bream on Fox News, and she starts out quoting this New York Times piece.
More of that New York Times article says it is precisely Mr. Trump's willingness to flout diplomatic protocol, abandon international accords, and keep his opponents off balance that have earned him plaudits as a leader strong enough to stand up to dictators and defend democratic ideals overseas, even if he has been criticized as diminishing them at home.
What?
Senator, hey, that's from the New York Times. They think when it comes to Asia, there are a lot of people who feel like President Trump is going to do a better job than a Joe Biden would, a President Biden. What do you think?
Well, the uber dictator of the world is President Xi Jinping in China.
Yep.
And with respect to President Xi, Mr. Biden faces two immediate hurdles. Number one, Mr. Biden was part of the Obama-Biden administration, which for 8 years tolerated the Chinese Communist Party's bad behavior.
It did.
Mr. Biden and Mr. Obama told us that, look, be patient with China. Free enterprise will change it. Instead, China has tried to change free enterprise. And frankly, during the 8 years of the Obama-Biden administration, China ate the world's lunch and the sack it came in. The second hurdle that Mr. Biden needs to face immediately has to do with his son, Hunter Biden. Now, I'm not making any accusations, but here are the facts as I see it, being as objective as I can. President Obama put Mr. Biden in charge of the foreign affairs of two countries, Ukraine and China. And in both instances, his son Biden walked away with millions of dollars of contracts. I'm not alleging that anybody did anything wrong. I don't know. But I know the message that sent to the world, Shannon, and you do too, that America's foreign policy could be bought. And I think that's the second hurdle that Mr. Biden's going to have to address pretty quickly.
If he becomes president, yes, pretty quickly, I'd say. But he isn't going to want to push up against China because China has made him and Hunter and his family rich, I tell you. Oh, but you wouldn't know that if you watch mainstream media like MSNBC because they don't talk about it. They refuse to even mention Hunter Biden and the laptop and Joe Biden's involvement with China and all the money they got. And the laptop is damning evidence. It's all on the hard drive, which mainstream media was offered but refused to take because they didn't want to hear it because it would hurt Joe Biden. You see a pattern here? So this guy seems smart and honest, this John Kennedy guy. He's very, very funny, too. She went on and asked John Kennedy, how important is the runoff in Georgia for Republicans? And by the way, this is the runoff that Attorney Lynn Wood has told Republicans not to vote in because the candidates, Perdue and Loeffler, have not come out in strong support of his case against. It's just a big circle mess. Lynn Wood, help the president, help uncover election fraud, shut up about the election. So how important, John Kennedy, is this election in Georgia?
Well, I'm not going to bubble wrap it. The election in Georgia is really a second presidential election.
Yes, it is.
That's how important it is.
Yep.
If the Democrats win in Georgia, the Republican Senate will lose its majority.
Mm-hmm.
In charge will be Senator Schumer, Senator Bernie Sanders.
Oh, God.
Speaker Pelosi, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez.
Great.
And their ideas, in my opinion, are 3 gallons of crazy. Do you really want to be governed by people who think that they can tax, spend, and regulate America into prosperity? I don't. Do most Americans really want to be governed by people who celebrate abortion?
Nope.
I don't. Do most Americans really want to be governed by people who think that they, the governed, are morons?
Nope.
By people who don't respect our ideas, and who think they're better than us.
They do.
I think that's what you're going to get if Schumer, Pelosi, Ocasio-Cortez, and Bernie Sanders are in charge.
I take issue with one thing. It's Ocasio-Cortez. He's right. John Kennedy is right. Now, I've got a favorite John Kennedy line. I'm going to play this for you. Now, I'm going to play, I found a cut where CNN comes on all serious after he says, this is a very funny line. He said it at a Trump rally last year. It's a great line, and it's during the impeachment or before the impeachment or something. I'm not sure of the exact timeline of it here. I think it's during the impeachment. And this was a Louisiana rally. Kennedy is from Louisiana. And then the propaganda network, Communist News Network, CNN, came on with analysis of what he said. But what he said is pretty clear and pretty right on to me.
And you know what our Democratic friends have done for him? Speaker Nancy Pelosi is trying to impeach him. I don't mean any disrespect, but it must suck to be that dumb.
That doesn't sound like a senator who has an open mind about the evidence.
And John Kennedy's on the banking committee with me, and he's smarter than that. He's smarter, funnier than that in person. He seems to have more principles than that. He plays to the crowd, I guess, when you stand next to Donald Trump and you have that kind of crowd reaction, you play to it. I'm disappointed because I like John, and for him to say that about Nancy Pelosi is so off the mark. She's the best, as I say in my book, Desk 88. She is probably the best, even more than Lyndon Johnson, the best leader of a political party in either house in this Congress in 100 years.
The best leader in 100, Nancy Pelosi? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cause you stomach sickness. This is a typical of a CNN guest, though. The best House leader in 100 years, Nancy Pelosi. How dare he say it must suck to be that stupid? You go, John Kennedy. That was brilliant. I love that. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep that around. Whenever we talk about Nancy Pelosi, I'll have to play that. Just like I use the Chuck Todd thing every time we have a Joy Reid or somebody from MSNBC on. It's just handy to have around. Well, here's some unlikely support for Donald Trump. Donald Trump says he will veto any defense bill that crosses his desk, which includes 230 status for big tech. His goal is to strip them of that status, 230 status. And the GOP, it turns out, doesn't want that suddenly because they all get campaign money from big tech. Now, what is Section 230? Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act of 1996 provides immunity to online platforms like Facebook and Twitter from civil liability based on third-party content and for the removal of content in certain circumstances, a.k.a. whenever the hell they feel like it goes against their political agenda. It protects Twitter. In fact, no, I'll get back to this. I had a case in point, but I'm going to wait for that. Here's what President Trump said in a pair of tweets. Section 230, which is a liability shielding gift from the U.S. to big tech, the only companies in America that have it, corporate welfare, is a serious threat to our national security and election integrity. Our country can never be safe and secure if we allow it to stand. Therefore, if the very dangerous and unfair Section 230 is not completely terminated as part of the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, I will be forced to unequivocally veto the bill when sent to the very beautiful Resolute desk. Take back America now. Thank you. President of the United States. I love who came to his defense. I love it because I don't feel at all bad about saying I think if there's going to be a Democratic president, this is who I would want it to be. And here is one of the reasons why. You know who stood up for Donald Trump and had his back on this? A Democrat, Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii. She agrees with Donald Trump, and while traitor GOP representatives don't want to remove this act because they get donations, they get stuff from big tech. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. Tulsi Gabbard, Democrat Tulsi Gabbard, says, Donald Trump, I fully support you on this. Please don't back down. The freedom and future of our country is at stake. Democrat Tulsi Gabbard. The D, as I've always said, the D doesn't make you a bad person, a bad politician, somebody who is anti-America. However, when you have that D by your name, nowadays especially, you're thought by proxy to be part of the mob. Tulsi Gabbard clearly is not. Coming out and actually butting heads with Republicans who disagree with the president on this. Oh, there are plenty of Republicans who disagree with the president on most everything. Take the Lincoln Project is a good example of some of the people. You find out who's in the Lincoln Project, and you'll have a good list of names right there. But good for her. Good for Tulsi Gabbard. And what do we want to do here? Okay, we're going to get to the election fraud things. And there's plenty of new stuff. Keep the faith, I'm telling you right now. I've got time right now to let you hear this. I saw this yesterday as I was leaving the house to come in on NBC's Today Show. Guess who was marveling and ogling and goo-goo and gah-gahing and fawning over Bill Gates? Savannah Guthrie. Oh, Savannah Guthrie. So Savannah Guthrie's got Bill Gates on the computer in front of her there. I think she was using an Apple computer too, by the way. I don't think she was afraid Windows might crash. So Bill Gates was he was on her Apple computer. I don't know really. But she had Bill Gates there, and she asked Bill Gates if President Trump was to blame. Oh, she said the administration. What she meant, because she hates President Trump, just like everybody at NBC hates President Trump. And Savannah Guthrie she can't hide it. She is so one-sided. She leans so far to the left, I'm surprised she doesn't fall over. But she asked if President Trump is to blame for the severity of the pandemic and if the Microsoft founder was looking forward to a Biden administration, or as she put it, to be more fair, the incoming administration. These people think they are being so unpartisan, so objective. They think nobody notices. So Savannah lays the groundwork so medical expert Bill Gates, who revolutionized, by the way, the blue screen of death, so he could throw the current administration under the bus and praise the potential incoming Biden administration. Here we go. It's Savannah and Bill and the little love fest they had going on yesterday.
Do you have faith in our government's ability to immunize Americans on this scale?
Well, it's going to be tricky, and it's kind of weird that the CDC throughout this epidemic hasn't had the visible role that you would have expected. A lot of these things delegated to the states, the execution will not be what it should be. But overall, I do think we'll get it out. It just the federal government has abdicated on many things during this pandemic.
You're not one for politics, but that's a pretty serious indictment. The federal government has abdicated on some of its fundamental responsibilities in a public health crisis.
Yeah, the federal government has way more resources than the states. Punting it to the states means it won't be perfect, but it'll get done.
Would you have expected the U.S. to have done better in a pandemic?
Dramatically.
Do you blame the president for that?
I think the administration overall, as we do the postmortem, there'll be a lot of things like confused messaging, lack of leadership that will fall on the executive branch, and we'll hope that the next time we do a lot better.
Do you feel hopeful that there's a new administration? Do you feel like you'll have a better partner there to work with in terms of the immunization and the efforts that are needed going forward?
Yeah, I think there'll be less denial. I think we'll have a more consistent message that, hey, we're here to, even if the news is bad, we're going to be frank with you about what's going on.
Oh, come on. Come on. Are you kidding me? Bill Gates, Dr. Bill Gates. Remember that name, Moderna. Remember the name Moderna. Now, it could be quite by accident. I'm going to say this as a conspiracy theorist, and I'm going to err on the side of caution if given the choice. If I ever do decide to take the vaccine, if I ever do decide to, and it will be my decision, not the government's, I will go with the Pfizer one. If I have a choice, I will go with the Pfizer one. If I don't have a choice and I have to go with Moderna, I definitely won't get it. But in the trademark or patent for the Moderna shot, which Bill Gates was involved with, there are a bunch of letters. It's alphanumeric. But these numbers appear in tandem, 060606. Well, if you take the zeros out, then that would be 666. Well, yes, it would. That would be the mark of the beast. Well, yes, it would. Well, that's the devil. That's the Antichrist. Well, yes, it is. Do you suppose Bill Gates is the Antichrist? I don't know. Nobody knows. Could there be a tracking chip in that vaccine? I don't know. Is it possible? Yes. Is it plausible? Well, I don't know. I don't know what you believe in. I don't know where your head is on conspiracy. Things you would have thought could never happen, that people would have had some crazy, wacky conspiracy theory. Like there are aliens in Oregon, or something like that. You would have said, no. But is there anything that is implausible anymore? Is there much that is impossible anymore? Given what we have seen. I don't think there is. We've got a lot more to come. I hope you stay here. Don't go anywhere. We've got a break. We've got news. We'll be back. I'm John James.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
At Franklin Somerset Federal Credit Union, they understand that when faced with difficult and challenging times, it's a comfort to know that we'll get through this together. Franklin Somerset Federal Credit Union is committed to keeping not only their members safe, but also their dedicated employees. They're following CDC guidelines, protocols, and social distancing at all of their facilities. They may have changed some of their usual ways of doing business, but they haven't changed how they treat their members. Their safest services are available through drive-up, ATM, telephone, easy banking, mobile banking, by phone, or appointment. Lobbies are currently open in the Skowhegan and Farmington branches, and with the holidays just around the corner, Franklin Somerset Federal Credit Union has a reason to brighten your season with their holiday loan special going on now through December 31st. Just ask any of their friendly and knowledgeable loan officers in Skowhegan, Farmington, Madison, Kingfield, or Stratton for complete details, or online at f-sfcu.com. Franklin Somerset Federal Credit Union, where their most important member is you. Member NCUA.
Hi, I'm Teresa Smith, Director of Advising at Kennebec Valley Community College. For the past 25 years, it has been my privilege to help people just like you reach your educational goals. Whether you're a high school student just getting started, a parent who's always had to put your family first, or a worker looking for new skills, KVCC has something for you. And trust me, it's never too late to get started. Give me a call at 453-KVCC, and together, let's see what we can do.
Nothing gives you more comfort and security during a power outage than a wood stove from Regency. So, visit Somerset Stone & Stove. Installing an efficient Regency wood stove will keep your family warm during those bone-chilling nights. And if you need it, Somerset Stone also offers professional delivery, installation, and financing options on all Regency stoves. Stop by Somerset Stone & Stove and save on your Regency wood stove at 1078 Kennedy Memorial Drive in Oakland. Online at somersetstoneandstove.com.
Delta Ambulance is the area's leading provider of high-quality emergency services and medical transportation in central Maine. You can always rely on Delta for safe transportation for routine or critical care transfers to and from any healthcare facility or home, regardless of distance. Since 1972, Delta Ambulance has been standing by, ready to help when you need it most. Learn more about the difference Delta makes at deltaambulance.org. Compassion, leadership, excellence. That's Delta Ambulance.
Interested in cutting your fuel oil bills by as much as 40%? Then call your Energy Kinetic System 2000 premier dealer, Pools, Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, and ask about the System 2000. You can save up to 40% off your heating cost and have all the hot water you need with the System 2000 from Energy Kinetics. Whether you're planning on replacing your current boiler or building a new home, stop into the Pools showroom at 19 North Street in Waterville and see the System 2000 from Energy Kinetics. The System 2000 runs on oil or propane, can be converted between fuels with a simple burner change, is whisper quiet, and can save you up to 40% off your heating fuel cost. If you own an older boiler, help keep it running more efficiently with a cleaning and tune-up. And don't forget, when you need emergency service, call Hool's 24-hour service department at 872-6762. Hool's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your System 2000 premier dealer.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Mostly cloudy this morning and through the day today, with highs climbing into the mid to upper 40s. A winter storm watch is in effect for most of Maine and New Hampshire. It looks like we'll start with some rain, then change to snow with heavy snow expected. We'll also be becoming windy with some power outages possible. Snow moves out Sunday morning, cold with highs in the low to mid 30s, partly sunny 30s to start next week.
WSKW, AM 1160.
Mrs. Brown, you've got a lovely daughter. Girls as sharp as her are something rare. But it's sad, she doesn't love me.
That's
now.
Herman's Hermits. That's a short song right there. I don't know what happened to the news and the legal identification. It went right by. It went right by. Okay, so we'll fix that. Just a little news update here for you. Just a little glitch in the system, which I don't want to say it figures, but it figures. It's just after 11 o'clock.
Jim Ryan. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is saying a compromise is in reach for a coronavirus relief bill. He and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on the phone Thursday evening discussed COVID relief for the first time since Election Day. And President-elect Joe Biden is on board.
Biden is now backing this new $900 billion bipartisan compromise bill to finally provide some COVID relief funding. But he is going to want to push Congress to do more. And like the rest of his agenda, that too will hinge on who ultimately controls the Senate.
That's ABC's Mary Bruce in Washington. The government reports 245,000 jobs were added in November, far below expectations, and a slowdown in job growth from previous months. President Trump is headed to Georgia tomorrow to campaign for 2 Senate candidates running there. That race will decide control of the Senate next year. In Southern California, firefighters are battling several wildfires, including the Bond Fire in Orange County that has scorched more than 6,400 acres. This is ABC News. Plans are coming together to start rolling out coronavirus vaccine shots overseas. In Moscow, the mayor there says vaccinations have begun. They're using the shot developed by Russian scientists. Meanwhile, in Great Britain,
the first one to gain approval here is the Pfizer variety. First jabs rolled out early next week. Business Secretary Alex Sharma.
We're starting initially with 800,000, and then let's see where we end up by the end of the year in terms of the numbers that we acquire. That will depend on the manufacturing. I hope we will have some millions by the end of this year.
Vast majority of vaccinations, however, will take place next year. 2 other vaccine candidates are currently under regulatory review here as well. Tom Rivers, ABC News, London.
On Capitol Hill today, the House is expected to vote on decriminalizing pot use at the federal level. The bill also calls for expunging certain marijuana-related convictions. It's likely to pass in the House, but not in the Senate. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
All right, how many of you love to spend less? Great, that's everyone. Now, let's narrow it down to everyone who loves to spend less and get rewarded for it. Everyone again? I predicted that. Well, let me introduce you to My Walgreens, the new, easier way to save money and stay well. When you join, you'll automatically start earning unlimited 1% Walgreens cash rewards store-wide. Join My Walgreens for free today at mywalgreens.com.
See mywalgreens.com for details.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer Wet Jet. With Swiffer Wet Jet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer Wet Jet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
It's time for a little fun, a few laughs, and a whole lot of truth.
Ted Nugent speaking fluent Democrat.
All right.
Basically translated, that means I will do whatever you say, or if you shove lies up my ass, I will parrot them mindlessly for you.
The John James Show is on Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Hey, welcome back. I gonna say that song just took me by surprise. I monitor the radio station when I'm not here. I monitor it on my phone. And it's just a sample of what you'll hear from noon until 6 the next morning. You'll hear songs like this. I said you'll hear songs like this. And songs like this. And even songs like this. That would be a Charlie Brown Christmas, by the way. It's called Linus and Lucy by Vince Guaraldi, the Vince Guaraldi Trio. So you've got that to look forward to after the show. Now back to the show. This is it. Let's get right into the voting this hour. Federal Appeals Court in Georgia has approved an expedited review of pro-Trump attorney Sidney Powell's request for a forensic review of voting machines in 3 counties. And I've got some breaking news on the Georgia voting machines. Sidney Powell filed a lawsuit last week alleging Dominion Voting Systems machines in the election in Georgia. She alleged they're insecure and allow foreign agents to meddle in the U.S. election, according to a U.S. District Court judge. Defendants are hereby enjoined and restrained from altering, destroying, erasing, or allowing the alteration, destruction, or erasure of any software or data on any Dominion voting machine in Cobb, Gwinnett, and Cherokee counties. The temporary restraining order shall remain in effect for 10 days or until further order of the court, whichever comes first. He did not grant Powell an immediate audit of the machines, but did allow her to appeal the decision to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. The Federal Appeals Court plans to expedite hearings on Powell's request, according to Bloomberg. Now, the breaking news from the Epoch Times, which if you haven't read the Epoch Times, you really, that's one of the news sites you ought to follow. I just came up on this. This is from this morning. Georgia's voting system machines in one county were updated in the weeks leading up to the November 3rd presidential election, according to a state official during Georgia Senate Government Oversight Committee's meeting about election integrity yesterday. Ryan Germany, General Counsel for the Georgia Secretary of State's office, made the remarks in response to a question from Republican State Senator Marty Harbin about allegations that Dominion machines in Fayette County had been updated on November 2nd, the day before the election. What does that mean? Well, we will see. Now, these machines, while purported to not be connected to the internet, witness who is a computer, a cyber war expert, a military cyber war expert, says they are in fact connected to the internet, and they have seen traffic that confirms they were connected to the internet. I don't know how specific this is going to get. Now, yesterday you saw some smoking gun video from Georgia. I believe it was Fulton County. I'm not 100% sure now. I can't remember. But it's been all over. Tucker Carlson had it on last night. I posted it yesterday afternoon on a few social media pages. And it shows after counters were sent home on election night, or on November 4th, again, I can't remember the date, pulling apparent suitcases out from under desks full of ballots. And it was caught on videotape. So Georgia's Brian Kemp, the governor, who was endorsed, by the way, by Donald Trump, is urging a signature audit, which has not been done. Signatures could be the next smoking gun. Now, I don't know how securely these ballots are all being protected, how secure the Dominion machines are all being protected, but they were in a hurry. They were in a hurry to erase, to reformat these voting machines for some reason. I mean, there's not another election coming up tomorrow, but they seem to be in a hurry to erase the data. on the voting machines. Now, if you saw the video on Facebook yesterday, and it was all over the place, it's not there now. I woke up this morning, I checked my page, I checked American Women Who Bear Arms page, and the video had been deleted and replaced with false information. And it linked to a site that said there's nothing to see here, basically. So again, free speech, right or wrong, should be allowed to stand in America. It sure was during the impeachment trials, wasn't it? During the impeachment trial. During the accusations, the questioning, the excoriation of the Trump administration for 4 years, nothing they posted was off limits. Anything you post about the coronavirus, the vaccine, voter fraud is subject to Facebook and Twitter's disapproval. Makes you scratch your head. Or it should. So this video came out showing it appeared to be suitcases full of ballots. Now, according to the Epoch Times yesterday, this audit called for by Brian Kemp needs to be done because he thinks there is something there. Now, this is sort of a turn for Brian Kemp, who, although he was supported by Donald Trump and really kind of poo-pooed the idea of any voter fraud, now suddenly wants this looked at. He made some comments on the Ingram angle last night. He said that state law gives the Secretary of State power to audit or adjust election procedures when necessary. He apparently thinks it is now necessary. He said, I called for a signature audit. Obviously, the Secretary of State, per the laws and the state constitution, would have to order that. And he has not done that. I think it should be done. Now, the Attorney General is a guy named Raffensperger, and they have not responded. Donald Trump made a similar call on Twitter, writing late yesterday, the best way to ensure a win for Senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue is to allow signature checks in the presidential race, and they could also help the sitting president. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But that's not the only one. It looks like Pennsylvania may be headed to the Supreme Court, because you get a Supreme Court in Pennsylvania that is made up of 5 Democrats and 2 Republicans. And they nixed the idea of looking into the election. Well, of course they did. They're partisan. It's a partisan Supreme Court. This is not justice for all. This is justice for the left. And that's how our judicial system is operating. They are operating as a leftist arm, an arm of the DNC. They're using politics rather than objectivity. Now, in Michigan, we talked about this yesterday. One of the witnesses at the Michigan hearing was a woman named Hima. She is from India. She's an immigrant. She's a member of the Republican Party. And I'm sure using Joe Biden's methodology, I imagine if you're an immigrant and you would vote for Trump, then you aren't really an immigrant. No, you're one of those nasty legal immigrants. Now, we have some more testimony from her this morning, but first, listen to a replay of the piece we did yesterday that shows you clearly that the mob is always foaming at the mouth and in attack mode. The first thing she started out with was her astonishment that in America, unlike India, you don't need to show an identification. Now, this is why they don't want voter ID, by the way. You don't need to show voter identification to vote in an important election.
In a country like India, we have a national identification card without which we cannot vote. When we come into this country, we have a retina scan, we have fingerprints, everything when we are entering into this country through a border. How is that a vote, which is the single most important thing any person can do, is actually being cast without an ID, without any kind of oversight, and those ballots getting duplicated without an oversight, and all of this fraud that was happening? It was heartbreaking. So that's why I decided to put myself here. Another thing that I noticed is that there were Democratic challengers there. I don't even call them challengers. They were agitators. They were only there with one purpose. When GOP people or nonpartisan people signed up, we were only trying to ensure that there was integrity. Whereas when Democratic challengers signed up, their only purpose there was to intimidate the GOP people and get them out. So that was what was happening on the 4th when I got on the floor. I didn't have my GOP tag on, so automatically I was assumed to be a Democrat. And I have seen some women who came to me and I said, let's get these MFs out. And she was singing that song. And for me, I don't listen to secular music. And these days, you can't even tell what is cussing and what is a song. So I thought maybe she was really singing a song. But then when I saw that she was targeting white male Republicans, accusing them of something like your mask slipped, you were not 6 feet away, so you need to go out, and your phone was out. And they were really intimidating all these white people. And I put myself out there, tried to help them, saying, why are you getting them in trouble? And they said, why are you taking their side? Then I showed my GOP tag. And then she said to me that I'm on the wrong side because I had a GOP tag on. I was literally shocked that, somebody can judge me because of my political affiliation and say whether or not I'm on the right side or wrong side. I can think for myself. But then at that point, I saw that Republicans were getting escorted, and so many people got escorted that we became pretty scarce. We couldn't even man, we had only one person manning 4 or 5 tables because we were so low on numbers, and there were so many Democratic challengers there. So I just went to Election Integrity Fund and got my nonpartisan tag. And the reason I did that was not because I was not there for my party or trying to do something on behalf of my party. I'm just trying to ensure that the right thing is being done. So when I got the nonpartisan tag at the counting board, the poll workers were very respectful because of my nonpartisan tag. But when I had the GOP tag, the first thing they said is 6 feet. You know the rule or you will be sent out. And I'm like, when I had the nonpartisan tag, not a lot of rules didn't apply to me. So that just told me that, those poll workers, the Democratic challengers, ACLU, and so many other people that were there, their only job there was to block the GOP challengers from doing their job. And when I was with the nonpartisan tag and talking to Democratic challengers, most of them didn't even know what to challenge in a ballot. When I asked them a question, when I was asking supervisor a question, those people were literally confused because they didn't even know what I was asking. And then when I asked one lady, where did you get trained? She said, trained for what?
Trained for what? So they weren't trained in what to do. That's Hima. She's an Indian immigrant, astonished that we don't require voter identification here in the most sacred event that goes on in this country. One of the most sacred rights we have is voting for our leaders. It's not a game. Why do they push against ID? Why do they push against ID? And furthermore, why is the left so quick to want to throw everything out with all of this sworn testimony? You remember the anonymous whistleblower, that Shifty Schiff, the biggest liar? The guy is a liar who says he has an anonymous whistle. They held a trial. They held impeachment. They impeached a president over an anonymous whistleblower. Yet, we have hundreds of whistleblowers, including a pile of unanonymous whistleblowers who are only Americans. They're only American citizens, and they don't want anything, that they don't want to even look at it. These are the people who are out to ruin our country. Now here's him. This is the same Indian woman in Michigan talking about something very odd. Sequential, undated ballots that she was not even allowed to ask about.
When I started writing down the ballot numbers and the last names of the person of the ballot that had the name on that ballot, they were all in sequence. These are absentee ballots, mail-in ballots. They cannot be in sequence. 2232 cannot have 2233 next to it, because if they're mailed in, they come in all different numbers. And when I started noticing that these numbers are almost next to each other, like one or the other was in the middle, but then they were almost next to each other, my antennas went up. That's exactly when I thought something is not right here. Then I asked the supervisor. There was not even a date on those envelopes. It said November 0-2020. There was no second number there. Then I said, what is the date on this one? Then they got really mad at me. They said, you're not letting us do our job. You're disturbing us. And at that point, because we really don't want to be kicked out, so we were just kind of not challenging anything because we want to still stay in the room because we barely had anybody. Not only that, these sequence ballot numbers were all from the same area, like the Goddard Street in the downtown Detroit. Goddard Street, sequential ballots, signatures were all alike. They had no date stamp. It said it was empty after 0. There was no third or second or first or nothing. And none of them were coming up in the system. They were all being entered manually. They even knew that none of these details would even be in the poll book or in the system.
No, it's just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. They all came in. They amazingly, they all came in consecutive numbers. They all came in the mail, but they ended up, we threw them down, and they all came in sequential numbers. It's amazing. It must be an act of God. And just to see if it was, we flipped a coin 700 times, and every time it landed on tails. Every single time. What are the chances? If this is still a fair and just country, leftists, stop telling us to shut up and accept the fact that Trump lost. Stop telling us that. Because if you're a real American, you're going to say, well, you got something there. If this is a fair and equitable country, this is going to be looked into. And if it's not, I question whether we even still have a democratic republic. If the courts refuse to look as deep into this as they possibly can, regardless of the time it takes, I don't care about deadlines. Who in America cares about deadlines? If it's wrong, it's wrong. There is no deadline on finding out the truth and, if the need be, overturning the results. There's no deadline on what should be. Well, time's up. Sorry. Turns out your candidate did win. 400 electoral votes to 100 and whatever. But too late. The deadline passed. Give me a break. Let it play out. If you're an American. In Michigan, at one point, Rudy Giuliani exploded on a Michigan representative, a smug little well-coiffed hair punk named Darren Camilleri, who is a Democrat. This guy, I was watching him the other night. This guy was just such a little... If he was a kid, I would have put him over my knee and I would have smacked his butt. He had been sarcastic and pushy every time he got the mic, ignoring the moderator who was pounding the gavel, and he just wouldn't stop. Listen to this exchange between the man boy and Giuliani. Now, I got this audio from Steven Crowder's feed, and on Louder with Crowder, they like to use sound effects. So pardon the added horns here. So without the horns, this is Rudy Giuliani going after this little punk. I can't think of a better word for him than that.
Pardon from the president. No one has found any evidence whatsoever of any of your wrongdoing. And why should we not believe the reported attempts of you to try to seek a pardon from the president?
I will ask that he be disciplined for that. That is a defamation of my professional character.
As I said,
reported.
Just for
Mr.
the
Giuliani,
record,
let me
just
ask
for the
the
record,
question.
we haven't lost 39 cases. We've only brought 3. So you're wrong about that. Second, the reason why people are reaching those conclusions is because, like you, they don't have the discipline, maybe the intelligence, I don't know, to read through this. You can't tell me there's no evidence when I have a couple of thousand affidavits from people. You can't tell me that your credibility is better than the credibility of those people. They swore under oath. You didn't.
Okay, I get the horns. As a radio guy, I get the horns. I get the sound effects. But that's just a little pushy guy. No evidence. And that's what they're saying, no evidence. How can you say the mere fact that people unanonymously signed affidavits under the threat of perjury and jail time, prison time, that alone is evidence, you mooks? How can they say that? And you're right. Cameron just posted on the one of the feeds. They never say Biden won. They say Trump lost. Isn't that telling, huh? I'm sure they hate the fact that probably Biden and Kamala Harris are there in their minds, president and vice president-elect. In their minds, I qualify that. Probably can't stand that. But they didn't get Bernie Sanders, so they have to settle with sloppy seconds, as it were. 11:33 here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. And another witness here. This just shows you how much high tech is in the pockets of the Democrats. So it's like high tech. It's like Twitter and Facebook are saying, to hell with all the affidavit signing fools, the conservative fools who said they saw wrongdoing. Oh, I don't care if they're, I don't care if there are 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 of them. I don't care. Doesn't matter. They're lying. They're all lying. For the president, they love this president. As I've said, it's not about the president to me or to any of them. It's about our country. Don't you see? Don't you understand that? And no, they aren't liars. But you can't speak out against the people who are calling them liars, who are saying they're fools for believing there was fraud. You can't call them out. Because if you do, you get banned. You don't even have to post, it turns out. You don't even have to post about it on Twitter to get banned. On Monday, Twitter suspended the account belonging to a Trump campaign witness who was testifying about voter irregularities at an election integrity hearing in Phoenix. His name is Bobby Piton, or Piton. Piton, in French, we call it Piton. Bobby Piton. He's an investment advisor and managing partner at Pre-Active Investments. It's an LLC. He was suspended by Twitter. On the same day he testified that as many as 306,000 fake people voted in the Arizona election. He claimed that after analyzing government voter registration and census data, in his opinion, the biggest fraud in history of our constitutional republic is taking place right before our eyes. It wasn't even on Twitter. He was testifying, and they banned him. I guess it's a preemptive ban. How about that? Here's a little bit of what Bobby Piton said.
In my humble opinion, upon reviewing all the data that I'm going to go over and reading countless articles, clips, and videos over the past week, I think this is the biggest fraud in the history of our constitutional republic. Is taking place right before our eyes. The corrupt mainstream media and tech oligarchs are colluding in an attempt to assassinate the American public's true legal votes for our President Donald J. Trump through corrupt government officials across countless precincts and corrupt state officials and courts. The evidence will show that President Trump surpassed both FDR and Reagan in the percentage of legal votes, topping 60% when this crime is unveiled. So much of this process has been tainted that it will likely end up before the Supreme Court and allow one electoral vote per state cast, and hopefully Arizona does its part. And eventually the 35 of the 50 states will probably vote Republican, which will probably match his popular vote totals. So basically what I've identified is that there's between 120,000 and 306,000 fake people.
I believe I heard somebody say he was banned during his testimony, which I guess makes it clear that if you're a non-anonymous whistleblower telling your side of the story, if they know your name, they're going to look you up on Twitter. They're listening to the testimony, and as soon as they know your name and they see what you're saying, they're going to ban your account. Unlike the anonymous whistleblower in the Ukraine case, who you could purport that guy said anything about Donald Trump, how he colluded with the Ukraine, how he quid pro quo with the Ukraine and the president, and Joe Biden's all pure and nice and wonderful, and that doesn't get banned. But you get somebody with no anonymity who is standing up for Donald Trump, they look him up and they ban him. I think while he was at his maybe he tweeted during the hearing. I don't know. I have no idea. You know, he gets more into the numbers. I mean, he goes on and on. He gets more into the numbers. But to dismiss all of this sworn testimony and call it, in the words of non-mensa faux journalist Nicole Wallace, conservative gobbledygook, is disingenuous and very dismissive of more than 70 million Americans. They don't care. We shouldn't be part of this country in their mind. They want to re-educate us. Did you know that? Did you hear that rumor? There's a Democrat that suggested that everybody who supports Trump needs to go to a re-education camp. Oh, they don't align with communists at all. Not at all. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. 1139 Legacy 1160 WSKW. They do need to be held accountable. Jail time for real, Casey. Saying the big tech companies need to be held accountable. They do. Will they? Well, you know what? Democrats and Republicans take big money from these guys. And unfortunately, Democrats and Republicans control the people. And the only way we are going to stop it is to do it ourselves. Sadly, we are going to have to take it back. I hope all it takes is the threat of that to make them finally stand up and listen and say, hey, wait a minute. These people are serious. What's it going to take? That's my question. There aren't very many who have our best interests in mind. I'm not saying they all don't. There are some good people in politics. To throw the baby out with the bathwater is wrong. There are good Democrats. There are good Republicans. There are good conservatives. There are good liberals, libertarians, socialists. No, not so much. Chuck Schumer knows why the Democrats didn't get the blue wave, though. He does. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer blamed both failed Senate candidate Cal Cunningham's extramarital affair and late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death for the Democratic Party's inability to secure a Senate majority. So far, we've still got that Georgia election. During a recent call with donors, Schumer lamented that Cunningham couldn't keep his zipper up and got entangled in an adulterous sexting scandal. And he also pinpointed Ginsburg's death as a reason that Senator Susan Collins was able to reframe the debate about replacing the Supreme Court justices and hold on to a seat that Democrats had hoped to flip. Now, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? Despite not leading, and this is Schumer's words, despite not leading in any public poll against her opponent, Sarah Gideon, Collins appealed to Democrats, independents, and undecideds by refusing to vote for Justice Amy Coney Barrett. I told you. Now, it's still, we don't know if it was a calculated move or not, but I told you before the election, I said, don't dismiss the fact that Susan Collins' refusal to vote for Amy Coney Barrett, don't doubt that that may be a calculated move. I think it was, and I said at the time, I said, if it is, it's brilliant. Brilliant. Because the Democrats were already angry with her because she voted for Kavanaugh. And they hate Kavanaugh because he's a rapist, even though he's not. Even though there was no evidence proving he was, he still is. He still is. She put a rapist on the Supreme Court. Oh, but wait a minute. Wait a minute. She's decided she's not going to vote for the next Donald Trump nominee, Amy Coney Barrett. Well, good for her. We'll vote for her now. Brilliant. It was just brilliant. Not to mention that Sarah Gideon was a god-awful candidate. Would have been horrible for Maine. Susan Collins is the best we could do in that election. And we did it. And I think it all hinged on, I think we don't have to look forward to Sarah Gideon being in the U.S. Senate because Susan Collins decided not to vote for Amy Coney Barrett. And she made that clear before the election. Smart. She was thinking, she either thought of that herself or somebody in the campaign said, you know, You know how you can appease some of the Democrats? Just don't vote for this. Republicans will forgive you. Democrats will have forgotten about Kavanaugh and seen your latest move not to vote for Amy Coney Barrett, and they'll vote for you, and boom. That's exactly what I would have told her to do. Knowing, now understand, this is knowing that Amy Coney Barrett had enough votes without her. Now, it might have been a different story. It may have been a different story if they needed Susan Collins to get Amy Coney Barrett on the bench. But they didn't. So she could afford to say, no, I'm not going to do it. Doesn't mean she wasn't for Amy Coney Barrett. Doesn't mean she didn't want Amy Coney Barrett. But she didn't have to vote. She didn't. She got elected. Brilliant. 1145, Legacy 1160, WSKW. Well, if Joe Biden does get exalted to the Oval Office, one of the things you can look forward to is rejoining the Paris Climate Accord. And we've got our climate, what do they call him? Not czar. John Kerry is going to be the climate something. Climate, kills me. I can't think of that. Climate envoy. Climate envoy. So John Kerry is going to be the climate envoy. One of the dumbest things Barack Obama did was join the Paris Climate Accord, and one of the dumbest things Joe Biden says he'll do is rejoin the Paris Climate Accord. Even though it'll put millions of Americans out of work, send gas and oil prices through the roof, what do they care? What do they care? They can seem virtuous to their leftist tree-hugging followers, and they're never going to go hungry. They're never not going to be able to afford gas for their cars, fuel for their homes, fuel for their private jets. They'll never have to worry about that. What do they care as long as they look good and make their constituents feel good? What does it matter? Truth be known, they don't care about the planet. You know that. We're on to that. The leftists aren't. The leftists are off. La, 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 la. We got Joe Biden. No, he's going to save the world. La, 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 la. But we understand. We understand what the ramifications of becoming a tree-hugging, fuel miserly nation is going to mean. And we're all going to be driving electric cars ASAP. California's outlawed internal combustion engines in cars in 10 years? They aren't going to be allowed to sell cars with engines anymore. California, Governor Newsom. All hail Governor Newsom. Hail Governor Newsom. You want to talk about some people who are more like Hitler than Donald Trump? Look at Gavin Newsom in California. Look at Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan. Look at Mario, father, Andrew Cuomo in New York. Stephen Moore,
author and lawyer serving as the 56th governor of New York since 2011.
My phone did that. I don't think I said, hey, Google. Mario Cuomo.
According to Wikipedia, Mario Matthew Cuomo was an American politician who served as the 52nd governor of New York for 3 terms, from 1983 to 1994.
Is Mario Cuomo dead? Hey, Google. Is Mario Cuomo dead? Of course he is.
Yes, Mario Cuomo died at age 82 on January 1st, 2015. The place of death of Mario Cuomo is Manhattan, New York City, New York State.
Did she say Manhattan? All right, I'm sorry. I just having a little fun with my phone there. Okay, so Stephen Moore, Distinguished Visiting Fellow, Project for Economic Growth at the Heritage Foundation, slammed Joe Biden during a Fox News interview a week or two ago, specifically his desire to rejoin the Paris Climate Accord. And he confirms it's going to harm American workers. Well, of course it is. It's going to harm all of us. All of us. Because Joe Biden does want to ban fracking. Joe Biden does want to stop drilling. This Stephen Moore, he was on with Fox's Rick Leventhal. And here's what he had to say.
I think one of the best things that Donald Trump did when he came into office, and we had talked to him in the campaign about this, that the climate change, the Paris Climate Change Treaty is a joke. I mean, the single biggest polluter in the world by far, Rick, is China. And it doesn't require China to do anything for another 10 years. Yeah. Meanwhile, we have to shut down our coal plants. We have to shut down our oil and gas facilities that employ, millions of workers. We have to use more expensive energy while China and India and Russia lap behind our back. So I don't think it's a very wise thing to do. As I said, in my note this week to our subscribers, this doesn't put America first. It puts America last, because American workers are the ones who are going to have to lose their jobs, while the rest of the world, especially the countries that are the big polluters, don't have to change their behavior.
Don't have to change their behavior. You know why? This is a typical progressive leftist talking, like Bernie or AOC or Kamala Harris. They don't have to do anything. We have to act first because America sucks. We need to tell the world we're sorry for all our carbon emissions. We're going to prove we're sorry because we're going to throw the American economy into turmoil. End all fossil fuel drilling because AOC says the world's going to end in 11 years. Lie. It's a lie. It's a ruse. It's a story. It's a fairy tale. For power. For personal gain. The few controlling the many. This is what it's about. It's not about the climate. It never was. When Al Gore started talking about it, it was all self-serving. Al Gore, these AOCs and Ilhan Omars of the world and Bernie Sanders, they're not stupid. Oh, we like to say AOC is. And she, other than understanding capitalism and benefiting from it, she's not stupid. She's not stupid. She sees what Al Gore did. She sees what Al Gore has, what he owns, the stuff he calls his. Private jet, mansion, whatever he wants, servants. While he tells you to drive an electric car. Put on a coat if you're cold. Turn the thermostat down. They see that. But if they get the power, it won't matter. It won't matter what 330 billion other people want. If the top 1,000, 2,000, 500,000 people get to live life the way they want to live, and we become all the peasants, the servants, we become their serfs, they'll be that's all they care about. That's all they care about. They don't care about us. They don't care about the earth. Are you kidding me? We aren't stupid. Well, I'm not. I don't think you are. There are plenty of stupid people out there who are enabling these fine folks. Speaking of dumb lemmings, I try to be kind here. Have I told you I miss Meghan McCain on The View? I only go to The View to hear what they're saying. I don't VCR, I was going to say, I don't videotape. I don't DVR The View. Trust me on that. I don't DVR. Oh, I can't wait to get home and see what Joy Behar and Sonny Hostin are saying today. And oh, I love that Whoopi Goldberg's voice. She reminds me so much of Barry White. Come on over here. Yeah. The hosts of The View are fawning over Joe Biden because it points to a more traditional relationship with the media. You're not going to have somebody who calls out the fake news for what they are. Fake. They are. They just are. They just are. And the View hosts don't like that because they don't think the news is fake. They think the news is wholesome, all-American, truth-telling, freedom-loving people who would never, they are the salt of the earth. They would never do anything wrong. They're only here to tell the truth, the media. And now that Joe Biden's going to be here, the media is going to be treated like they should be treated because we love the media. Sonny, Whoopi, and Joy all chime in with their charm, with their intellect, as they fawn over the Biden administration and the new relationship with media.
I think that it points to a return, quite frankly, to a move to a more traditional relationship with the press. I mean, Trump was very effective in damaging the reputation of reporters and constantly attacking reporters because he wanted his word to be final. He wanted his supporters to believe only what he said and not what they saw in the news. And he really eroded the First Amendment. So I'm actually quite pleased.
He eroded the First Amendment, Sonny. Good job,
they have
kid.
Strong relationships with the press. I mean, remember how Trump used to attack reporters like Abby Phillips, reporters like Yamiche Alcindor, April Ryan, Katie Collins. It was a constant attack of women, female reporters predominantly. I mean, he did have that back and forth with Jim Acosta. But I think that this is a point in the right direction because we know that now we'll have a more traditional relationship with the press.
Right. You think that you agree with that, Joy?
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes, I think she's right. They need to fumigate the room first to get rid of the lying that went on there for years.
Oh, my.
The lies that going on there for years.
Get out of my head, Joy. Joy Reid. All right, so that's all I've got time for. We've got Conserving the Maine Outdoors coming up. Thank you so much for joining me. Freedom lovers, we've got to stick together, my friend. We got to. Thank you. Really, thank you for being here. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your faith and your hope, and we've all got to have it because that's all we got at this point. We're just going to have faith and hope that the justice system serves us well, we the people. Remember, we are supposed to be in charge. We're losing charge. We can't allow that to happen, and we won't. We won't. Stay strong, my friend. See you Monday. Mike Violet back here at 6 o'clock. Monday morning, I'll be here at 9. Conserving the Maine Outdoors coming up with Mi Amigos. We've got David Trahan and Mike Shaw all straight ahead here on Legacy 1160. See you Monday.
They understand that when faced with difficult and challenging times, it's a comfort to know that we'll get through this together. Franklin Somerset Federal Credit Union is committed to keeping not only their members safe, but also their dedicated employees. They're following CDC guidelines, protocols, and social distancing at all of their facilities. They may have changed some of their usual ways of doing business, but they haven't changed how they treat their members. Their safest services are available through drive-up ATM, telephone, easy banking, mobile banking, by phone, or appointment. Lobbies are currently open in the Skowhegan and Farmington branches, and with the holidays just around the corner, Franklin Somerset Federal Credit Union has a reason to brighten your season with their holiday loan special going on now through December 31st. Just ask any of their friendly and knowledgeable loan officers in Skowhegan, Farmington, Madison, Kingfield, or Stratton for complete details, or online at f-sfcu.com. Franklin Somerset Federal Credit Union, where their most important member is you. Member NCUA.
If you've checked the gift list twice, Anna's got something different for everyone on it. Just head to Townline